Tonight at 9, Guard deployment grows. Hundreds more members of the National Guard set to come into D.C. in less than 1 week after the president's deployment to fight violent crime. Pushing back, residents continue to say the surge in federal law enforcement is unnecessary. Got a report of what they're hoping to learn, and soon.
And the weather, well, saw some showers and storms this afternoon, although it was isolated in nature. Will we see the same on Sunday? Stick around for my full forecast that's coming up.
Going gaga for go-go, the annual party for the godfather of DC's cultural music genre. How residents are celebrating Chuck Brown Day. And keeping cash from savings on student loans to lowering your electric bill. We found ways to stretch your dollar.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Good Saturday evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for DC News Now at 9 o'clock. I'm Ben Dennis. We begin tonight with some breaking news. A White House official has told us National Guard troops deployed to DC may now be armed. That's an about-face from what defense officials said earlier this week at the time, saying the Guard was not carrying weapons. Meantime, members of the Guard are spending their first weekend deployed on city streets after President Trump's takeover of MPD. Hundreds more may soon be on their way from West Virginia and South Carolina. More on that in a moment. Continue to see residents protesting Mr. Trump's deployment to fight violent crime. He claims it's out of control, but many people who live here believe that federalizing MPD is unnecessary. There's more opposition tonight to the increased law enforcement. Well, that's also efforts to deport people in the country illegally. Things reached a bit of a boiling point earlier tonight in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood Northwest. As our Dave Laval tells us, things reached a tense moment.
I can tell you to stop following.
Crowds confront 3 reported ICE agents after a visit to a restaurant in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood.
Stop your car!
We did not see them take anyone into custody, just the latest in an emotional day around the district.
Trump must go now!
One of the rally cries from demonstrators as they descended on the White House. Protesters made their way from DuPont Circle to deliver their message.
Troops on the corner, feds on the block.
Several hundred demonstrators marched in opposition to the president using federal law enforcement agencies to patrol district streets.
We need to have our independence, and this is not that.
Lizzie Logan of Northeast objects to one particular agency as she shared her thoughts at the rally.
The presence of the National Guard, and the National Guard honestly look very bored right now because there's nothing to do.
Free DC! Free DC! Free DC!
This protest is not the only way demonstrators spread their message. These sheets stand at Lamont Park in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood, targeting deportations. People told us they replaced another one that had been taken down Friday.
Our Dave Laval reporting. Well, tonight, South Carolina and West Virginia's governors say that they are sending hundreds of Guard members to D.C. to fight crime. 200 from South Carolina, 300 to 400 from West Virginia. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey says the White House requested this, adding in part, the Guard will include providing mission essential equipment, specialized training, and approximately 300 to 400 skilled personnel as directed. The mission will be funded at the federal level, and the Guard remains steadfast in its commitment to its long-standing National Capital Region partnership. All right, time of your forecast, 9:10 on the dot. Scott Sumner standing by. All right, it was a sticky, muggy, humid Saturday. Is that going to continue into our Sunday, Scott?
Yes, it is. It's going to get even hotter than today, as we'll show you the high for the day in a moment. Right now, it's sitting at 82 degrees at 9:10 this evening, into partly cloudy skies across the DMV and D.C. in the Beltway area. We'll be seeing that temperature drop, first of all, into the lower 70s, but then quickly climb up into the lower 90s as an actual air temperature, lower and middle 90s. But the heat and the humidity combined will have that feels like temperature up to around that triple-digit mark, or at least the upper 90s, if not that. So as we see here, our satellite radar over the 12-hour period has shown some spotty clouds and showers and even a few storms, but obviously that's all done with. So the weather headlines is a dry night ahead as we go into tomorrow. Front brings some Sunday storms to the area. We'll talk about that in in the Maine weather. Temperatures take a dip next week, and we're watching Hurricane Erin. We'll talk about all of these things with a full 7-day forecast coming up. Ben?
All right, Scott. See you in just a bit. Back to the D.C. takeover. Another component of all of this, that's the president's push to get rid of homeless encampments. He has ordered police to help federal agents in that process. One of the latest sites cleared was at Washington Circle, where more than a dozen federal agents tried to clear out the area, giving notices to people who are residing there, saying they've got until the end of the weekend to pick up and go. Our Daniel Hamburg has that latest story.
Under the direction of the federal government, D.C. police led the clearing of homeless encampments Friday.
They were shocking and they were lightning fast, and we were not expecting it to go the way that it was.
Andy Wasenick, director of policy for Miriam's Kitchen, watched as the Department of Public Works trashed tents and belongings left unattended.
Folks who weren't there, their tents were just thrown away. There was one person who was there this morning, and she was able to pack up her stuff and move on. And I think we were able to get her in a hotel for at least a couple nights.
He's talking about Megan Abraham, who we talked with Thursday night.
We're just people. We're normal people out here working, trying to do well. And things like this is really, like, to pack up every belonging I have and move to someplace else. Like, that's a stress that shouldn't exist.
Wasenick says 5 or 6 encampments were cleared, including this one near 26th and L Streets.
People have no choice but to sleep outside. Rent in D.C. for an average one-bedroom is $2,300 a month.
The district says it has and continues to offer transportation to shelter, storage of items, access to behavioral health and or medical care, case management, and connection to other services as needed.
What we're hearing and understanding is that, like, it's done for now, but like that, you know, people could still be engaged by the police, right, and asked to move along.
Our Daniel Hamburg reporting. D.C. local officials continue to say these hurried camp closures are not their doing, rather the feds. Homeless resource group Miriam's Kitchen says that they will have people working this weekend to connect people experiencing homelessness to shelters. Well, the federal government's plan to install an emergency police commissioner for D.C. police, that's over. D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith will stay in control of MPD after the White House wanted the current head of the Drug Enforcement Administration, Terry Cole, to take over. However, the legal battle between the city and the federal government continues. That's because of U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. She's filed a new executive order after a court hearing on the issue of who will lead D.C. police. Bondi says Cole has the power to direct Mayor Bowser to provide services of D.C. police, quote, as the Attorney General deems necessary and appropriate, including assistance with the enforcement of immigration law, so long as it doesn't violate D.C. law. It's expected the court will take up the other elements of this new order in further detail this week. And coming up at 9:30, a triple stabbing in Northeast that we've just learned out happened earlier this evening. The latest from the scene, our full coverage of the D.C. takeover as it continues at DCNewsNow.com. All right, new tonight, we have learned that a man died while he was in police custody at the Alexandria jail just yesterday. Police say they responded to an apartment building around 5 last night, and that was on North Beauregard Street near the 395 Express lane. Police say they got several phone calls of a man running up and down the apartment hallways, yelling, knocking on doors too. He was arrested for public intoxication after officers reportedly tried to calm the man down. But once at the jail, he apparently needed medical assistance. Medics tried to save him, but he died on scene. It is unclear what the man needed medical assistance for. All right, in Prince George's County, there were some concerning moments today at Six Flags America. 32 people were reportedly rescued, and after they were stuck on this ride, one person was sent to the hospital. County fire teams say that 32 folks were safely removed. They were stuck for around half an hour, around 3:30 p.m. 14 people were checked out by medical teams. One sent to the hospital for serious but non-life-threatening injuries. We're told that was unrelated to this incident. All right, DC News Now is your local election headquarters. In Northern Virginia, there's ranked choice voting for key board positions and in Arlington County. ARLnow.com reports voters can choose up to 3 candidates. However, there are 5 people running, and all for 1 open seat. The other elections in the county will go by the traditional voting format. You can learn more about ranked choice voting at a community forum. That's September the 10th at the Lubber Run Community Center. Election officials hope to have sample ballots available before Labor Day. All right, time for some tunes. The largest go-go music festival was back. It was a celebration for Chuck Brown Day in D.C. at DuPont Park in Southeast. That festival is in its 11th year of celebrating the godfather of go-go. Who doesn't love it? Attendees had no doubt enjoyed performances all day to celebrate Brown's legacy, but the official music of D.C.
Go-go culture, music, there's so many genres that were actually influenced by Chuck Brown, samples that we've seen abroad. It is the sound of the city.
Attendees also got a chance to enjoy a back-to-school giveaway. Good for the kiddos and parents. Coming up, we're stretching your dollar, especially for people who are continuously burdened by student loans. We've got consumer tips on how to take care of those recurring costs. Plus, the Commanders had quite a big announcement to make today as they get close to their second preseason game and against the Cincinnati Bengals. 9:17, a live look at Roslyn. We got you covered in Arlington County and yeah, everybody else across the DMV. Scott's coming back with your full forecast. It's going to be muggy again. More after the break.